We want to open the Strategic Planning Committee meeting of Monday, May 7th, 2012. With that, we'll have the prayer by Councilman Malonson, followed by the pledge.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this great day. We just ask that you would guide our minds and guide our hearts and our mouths in these decisions that we're making for the parish, Lord Father. I just ask a blessing on everyone in this room. We thank you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, Councilman Terry Cazzo is on the way, and Benny Johnson is working tonight, so everyone else here is here. Public comment period. Anyone wishing to comment on any item can come sign up and have you 3 minutes. Number 4, update on adjudication court. We talked to Ms. Carla Bourgeois today. They're moving forward with trying to get someone to be the judge, and so until that happens, we still at a standstill. However, we're starting to get some more complaints and filed, and so hopefully by the next month or so we can get it started up again. But we were not behind very much the last couple of weeks, so still going good. Number 5, discussion of proposed amended noise ordinance. Just to bring people up to date, we had a noise ordinance a number of years ago that was strictly decibel spelled out, which we found out through numerous times. The sheriff's office went out and tried to enforce some obvious loud noises, and we found that nobody met the decibel measurement, so in effect it was ineffective for any complaints. We had worked very hard to get a noise ordinance with the sheriff's office, and things we thought were working fairly well. However, it did not meet judicial muster and was thrown out in a court challenge. So we went back to the drawing boards, and our legal counsel, O'Neill Parrington, came up with an alternative, which we wanted to look to put forward at this time. O'Neill?
The new ordinance basically incorporates both provisions. We reduced the decibel level based on some ordinances of other parishes and cities that seem to be working. There's one change that I need from the last week. We sent y'all the final draft. In the definition of residential districts, it should read residential districts shall have the same meaning as in the zoning ordinance of the parish, including rural districts, conservation districts, medium intensity residential districts, or any other residential districts subsequently created by ordinance, because those are our 3 residential districts now, but if any other are subsequently created, we want to be able to include those.
So add created by ordinance to the end of that?
Yeah. Subsequently created by ordinance, because if you would approve a PUD and they have a residential district and a PUD, that would apply. And that's basically it. We've just incorporated, try to make both aspects. It's on the definition section, residential district.
Okay.
Anybody else got a question?
Okay. Yes, and we really do appreciate the definitions put forth there. That helps in all of these.
And we've reduced the decibel level.
Can you give just a synopsis of what we're trying to do?
Okay. Essentially, you would have noise created by loudspeakers, and then you'd have construction noise. And so that's why it describes residential district, because you don't want to punish a business for being in a business area.
Right.
So what we've done is, and we've researched it, we found the decibel levels. I think the old original ordinance that we had a problem with had the minimum at 85. We reduced it to 75. between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m., and 70 from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. That's been used by other parishes or cities. We don't know, I don't know of any court cases deciding if that level's appropriate or not, but we found them, and they were on the other books, and so we figured, let's give it a try.
Pretty high to be.
Okay.
Okay.
I've
Yeah,
also looked at the
we
EPA.
found out that 85 was about like a jet airplane, I think, next door, so.
I mean, I've looked at the EPA information also, and these are close to being an issue. And the other change is that it's now going to go to the adjudication court. Because I think one of the issues that you always have with these noise ordinances, that you're basically trying to make a crime out of a civil
Yeah.
dispute. And by putting it in the adjudication court, we avoid that issue. It's not a crime, but you can still be paying the fines and penalties. And I would think that if someone would continue violation, we'd at least make a record for someone to go get an injunction, get a lawyer and go file a lawsuit with our record and get an injunction against their neighbor. That was the intent. I think that would be intent. One of my intents was by bringing it to court and our adjudication court, if it continued after that, we'd have made them a record to go forward.
Well, we definitely didn't want it to be something that was criminal. You know,
Right.
that was one of the things we wanted to clear up.
And I can say, working in the fire alarm industry, the code that we follow, you have to have it at 75 decibels, a fire alarm horn at the pillow, which is designed to wake you up and get you out in the fire. The code where it has to be at least is 75. So, I mean, if you're talking about getting you up out of bed in a hurry at 75 decibels, so anything higher than that, I mean, you know, I don't think you want that coming across, so I think those levels are appropriate.
Well, I guess the only question I would have then, Councilman, is that you can be found violating this if your alarm system goes for 15 minutes. Is that reasonable, or should we make it longer? I mean,
don't
that was the only
think,
question I had.
Well, for the most part, we don't.
It's not the intention of anybody filing anything for alarm system or anything
Okay.
like that. I
And
mean,
for the most part, you don't put not many people put the horns on the outside of homes anymore.
Okay.
And when we do, you normally do build it in to shut off before that time. Because of that reason. For a long time, you got a lot of complaints from neighbors and different things. And so, I mean, in most codes, it tells you that you don't let them run for any longer than that
Okay.
on the outside. So, I mean, I don't think we'll have a whole lot of problems with that.
That was just in the ordinance, and I wasn't sure of a reasonable time frame. But if you're saying it is, you know more than me. Any other questions?
Anything else, Councilman Lambert?
No, if there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and move this to the full council.
Motion by Mr. Lambert, second by Ms. Malone, so to move it to the full council, and which, of course, we will be, before it does come to the council, we'll be consulting with Sheriff's Office, make sure that it meets all their muster, and bring it forth there. If any changes that need to be made, we can make it at that time, because those would be minor changes. Any further discussion? If not, any objection? So moved. We'll move this, Myra will move this to the full council. Number 6, a proposal for garbage districts and guidelines. Where we've had discussions on parish-wide garbage. Just some background so that everyone knows. We've been having, at this time, we have a number of providers that provide private service throughout the parish. And it's simply garbage pickup. There's been a very, very, very strong push by residents in the parish to include recycling and also trash, white goods, and those things that people no longer can haul to the dump. And also because of the proximity of people living next to each other, the chances of burning in some areas has been pretty hard. So we're trying to, we found out through some research that by going to a parish-wide type of system where we'd still have private vendors, but they would be on a bid basis, that the price we could provide more services for either the same rate or a cheaper rate, and that's what we were trying to do. What we're looking to do here is having discussions and see what exactly do we want. out of this? What do the people want? What do you want to ask for in proposals? Mr. Pierce, who's Mr. Martinez's assistant, has been doing some research, and at this time, Moose, we'd like to ask you to come up and give us some examples of some of the information that we've had. Basically, what is going on in some of the other parishes, and some costs that other parishes have had, so that we can try to make some decisions as to where we want to head in this parish.
In the past, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Councilman, they have a variety of different, options and stuff for residential solid waste pickup. In some parishes, you have like 30,000 residents, which is probably close to what we're going to have. It goes from around $19 a month to parishes that may go up as far as for $24, $26 a month. I would say you could get a good service between the range of $19 and $27 a month. You probably could go, the most economical thing to do would be to, the larger companies would like to see a one-stop shop or one payment where they bill one time, get paid. That would get you your best price. So we would just have to figure out how we're going to pay for this, and what service use you want. You have once a week pick up with carts, and I would imagine for Ascension Parish to aesthetically would be to pick up by cart, and you can go once a week carts, twice a week carts. You can also add recycling in, bulky waste, white goods, and you could determine at what time frame you would like to pick them up. White goods, you may want to do it once a month. Bulky waste, you might want to do it once a month. Brush, you might want to do it once a week, or you might want to do all of them once a week. I've noticed in my research that they have, some good pricing for a variety of the services, but it's the main thing is it's billed to one, to one location like Ascension Parish or whatever, and you just whatever y'all choose.
And this would be a non-exclusive.
You could be exclusive or non-exclusive. You could go out for proposals and see what you're gonna be able to obtain from the various solid waste services and companies, and then from there you could negotiate with probably the lowest one that's
Right.
the most reasonable one with the most reasonable price.
And
So what we have to determine, and I guess you can put it in a proposal to do once a week, and then put an option of twice a week, and just have options in the proposal, and they would bid on
Right.
on each individual line item, So and then the billing. We'd probably have to set up, if it was billed through the parish, we'd have to set up a billing mechanism to, get to the residents, get out the bills to the residents and payment and stuff like that. And there's many options. You could maybe have somebody call in as far as for bulky waste, to call in and then set up a system where they'd collect the calls and pick them up every third day, or whatever the council would like to see happen, So there's many options, and you can custom make it to to whatever your desire is, and you know, put it in the specifications, and they'll give you some prices on it and stuff, you know. Of course, if Ascension Parish did it, we'd have to, I'm surely, you know, have an administrative fee so we can cover our costs for, you know, administering the program, the solid waste program. And there'll be times where people will be, you know, don't pay their monthly bill, and you'd have to adjust for that, maybe administratively or some other type way.
Question that I had too on how, if in some of the research you've done, how they've gone about that on, like, I know sometimes you brought this up last time where you have issues on stopping, if you have water service and they're not paying a bill, it's easy to cut somebody's water off, but on a trash route where they're going door to door, those drivers and collection guys might not know, and so if they didn't pay, how many of them are still getting picked up, which is not gonna deter them from not paying or things like that. I think there's something
Yeah.
else we need to do some research on.
Is there a way
yeah,
to collect that on the tax rolls?
Yes, and that's something that needs to be worked out also.
Yeah, I'm meeting with the attorney, Mr. Chairman, and we're gonna come up with a proposal. We'll work on a proposal in the next few weeks or whatever, month or so, and try to put something together that, you know, can work for Ascension Parish. Another option is to let the company bill the residents directly. But when they bill, you know, that's gonna, the price is gonna,
Right.
you know, they're gonna charge for that building, you know. So there's several, I mean, there's many options, you know. We just have to try to custom fit for something that's agreeable to our parish and to the council and president.
Mr. Lambert.
Thank you, Chairman. What I'd like to also, I know there's Cajun Recyclers that I think it's a new company that's moved into the parish here recently, and I don't know how many customers they have, but I would like to have, you know, maybe a group of them come in where we can try to figure out, will they be willing, I mean, some of them are just recycling. Are they going to be willing to go to garbage, or what they would, you know, what their capabilities will be? One of the main things we were trying to do was get the some of the traffic off of the roads. We got 4 or 5 garbage trucks passing each other in some of these subdivisions, and you know, that's one of the things we was looking for, to kind of narrow that down.
And to give some background on what Mr. Lambert was talking about, we've been working on this probably for 7 or 8 years, and meeting with the different vendors and entities. I know Mr. Grant before, in the last administration, had been working and we've had meetings, and it's a big safety issue with having a number of large ones, and it's not cost effective. And so that's how the discussions got started. Mr. Pierce has been going out and doing a lot of research, and we've been doing a lot of research, and so we're getting to the point where we're getting some pretty definitive information that if we grant a proposal, or take proposals from people and they do parish-wide, we can, for the same amount of money, or reduced amount of money, you can get a tremendous increase in services. One of the things that we had looked at doing last year was the parish start collecting the trash, the bulk trash on the side of the road, which people are used to getting throughout other parishes. And we found that the startup cost and just to do that one avenue, one thing for the parish to do it was cost prohibitive for as what your cost would actually be. Whereas if an entity was already doing a route and already doing some of that, their costs would be greatly reduced. So those are some of the things that we've looked into and found out that probably obviously the most favorable thing with cost-wise would be to get proposals from people and have vendors bid on that. So and I guess what we're looking for now, if there's any objections to moving forward with trying to put something together to get proposals in, not making a commitment to go any further than getting a proposal where we can negotiate with some people and see exactly where we stand, be able to tell the people what the costs are, how we're going to be able to go forward and move forward in this. So some of the things, what we're looking for is what do you want, and actually write it down so we can see what we want to do and go forward with this. What services do we want?
Recycling, twice a week pickup, debris removal.
Now, when you say,
That would be my thought.
when you say debris removal, are you talking about branches and limbs and, say, small amounts of trees, or are you talking about bulky waste like furniture and bicycles?
Mr. Pierce, do we need to separate that? Is that two different things? Let's say your yard twigs and stuff that you put hand on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Is something different from?
That's, the way it's set up now in some of the contracts, it's the smaller debris that they pick up, say like on a second pickup of the week, as you alluded to, Ms. Cazzo. And you could do that to get the smaller stuff, and then you come back and get the bulky stuff, which is the big, maybe the sizes of a Volkswagen,
Like sofas, things like that.
yeah, sofas.
Tree falls down,
Right.
sofas,
Yeah, right.
et cetera. Okay.
And then your white goods, for your information, would be refrigerators, stoves, hot water heaters, air conditioners. And
And are we looking for them to supply the cans?
washers, dryers, stuff like that would be your white goods.
I have a question about the white goods. I certainly would love to see us figure out a way to include that, because otherwise we have them on the side of our roads.
Right.
And
If, the way it appears from conversations with different vendors, if you put that within your proposal, they're glad to do that because they pick it up and they recycle it, and it's basically a wash. It's probably a free service. So which would help a lot.
Mr. Chairman, and I guess, in all fairness, to let the companies know that, this is what we're looking for and their capabilities of providing this in their bid. So I don't want to see anyone get cut out, anyone local or, whoever's providing a service, but they need to know that we're looking into a little bit bigger scope here of just more than garbage.
We've also been meeting with all the local vendors, which we think all of them, and that's one of the things that we would like to encourage anyone that in proposals is that they would include the local people. That's one of the reasons why we are very, very slow to move on this thing, is because we want to make sure that the local people still remain in business. So,
back,
yes.
Mr. Chairman, to the discussion about cans, wouldn't it perhaps help if they provided the can, and then if they were not paying their bill, whenever the provider went around, they just pick up the can? And so they can't just continue to.
That's usually what happens. That's the first thing that happens.
Well, I've lived out here without it all my life, so I don't know. But
Or like in the city, they do the pickup, but you supply your own can. So, but your garbage comes with your water bill, so you're paying it. If not, your water's cut off.
yeah,
So they have that added in, so it keeps you from the people. Their garbage is going to be paid for if they're living in the house. So you don't really have to worry about that.
That's two of the things. How are we going to pay for the garbage, pick up, and also a mechanism for collection.
Right.
And that's going to be probably the two most. difficult things.
I would like to ask for the freedom to establish a committee, and could be 2 or 3, that we would go forward and meet with administration, and then come back next month with what we want to put on proposals, and a proposal on administrative costs or a collection method.
I'll make that motion.
I'll be happy to
Moved
second
by
that.
Ms. Malonzo and second by Ms. Casso. Any objections? I'll contact y'all, and whoever wants to get involved, we'll have a meeting with administration and sit down and bring this out so that at the next meeting, we can present it formally. Mr. Pierce, I'll contact you, and we'll have that meeting. I think enough information has been gotten so that we can move forward with that. And we'll go from there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your legwork on this, and Mr.
Absolutely.
Pierce, appreciate you.
Yep, no problem.
Okay. And I apologize, something I was supposed to do at the very
Yeah.
beginning, and we'll wait for Ms. Casso. Well, but before we get to number 7, we had an item that came in and that I was supposed to put it when I checked the agenda. I missed. Administration had asked that we had a problem with one of our public buildings in Donaldsonville that we needed to discuss and see about moving forward. And I would like to entertain a motion to add this to the agenda.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lambert, second by Ms. Casso.
We need a unanimous vote.
We need a unanimous vote. If there's any objections, no objection, being that we all put it on the agenda, and we will put that in as 6A and cover that right now. This is a letter we had received from President Martinez, to President Martinez by Stephen Arty. The old meeting room that we have in Donaldsonville on Chattahoochee Street recently had an automobile that ran into it in an accident, and it was damaged, and then it's an old building, so they had further damages, and they did an inspection, and it said the findings of the inspection are not favorable and show the building to be in poor condition, very poor condition. He's including the preliminary report with this correspondence for this review. It is a recommendation of the Facility Maintenance Division that the Ascension Consolidated Utilities District be housed in an alternative location for health and safety reasons, and that the parish consider the demolition of this facility, as it would not be cost-effective to make the required repairs. Please respond once you have this report. This was brought to us by our maintenance manager. ACUD, which is our West Bank Utilities Department, is currently using that facility, and obviously we don't want to have them, this building being condemned, and they're right away looking for something. Administration wishes to move forward with the procedures because it's in the historic district, and then allow ACUD, give them notice a long period of time, 120 days, 150 days, so that they can find suitable places to move their operations. Mr. Martinez, and
We just wanted to inform you and get your permission because there's a lease there that we do have currently with ACUD 1. So legal's gonna, not that we're getting paid for it, it's just kind of in a governmental agreement. So we'll just notify them on that, and we need to start the procedure with the historical district to get permits to demolish the building. And we want to give ACUD 1 time to find another location to do the operation. So that's basically what Mr. Schexnayder said is what we need to do, and we just want everybody to be aware and also have legal to be aware also that we need to give notice, Mr. Parrington. So
What would be,
I think it's
adequate?
30 days notice cancellation, but 120 days, whatever time it takes them to find.
to vacate?
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to push them out or,
Yeah.
put them on the street tomorrow.
I think they'd try to give them notice within 30 days, but 120 days, which is, 6 months to vacate the premises.
I just had a question. Mr. President, with the accident involved here, I mean, our building was in perfect condition. What's gonna happen if when we just demo the building, what's left?
It'll just be a piece of ground. It's not a very big building. It's the old building where we used to meet, had our council meetings and police jury meetings all the way back. It's called the George Bloom Building. But
Building.
the car,
Had some
the
serious
car actually ran into the wall, kind of pushed the wall all the way in. There's some mold in the building. There's also the pillars that that the floor rested on is all they got knocked down. So you almost fall through the floor when you're walking. So it's a lot to repair, and we just don't think it's the cost of it to repair it's going to be a lot more than the building is actually going to be worth it.
The structure of the building was very marginal.
Yes,
But
prior to
before
that. Yes.
prior to the accident, so it had been going down since it
I'll
was
gladly
vacated.
make that motion that we, however lengthy that motion needs to be.
Yeah.
that
I
we,
guess the motion would be to allow administration to notify ACUD and then to move forward with condemnation procedures.
I'll second it.
Motion by Ms. Cazzo, second by Mr. Lambert. We'll move that forward with the full parish council. Any objection? So moved. Myra, put that on the next agenda. Discussion of youth shelter in Ascension Parish. We had Judge Holdridge come by and talked about the need for what has been happening, and it the costs are going up from about $100,000 a year, and the projection to be about almost $300,000 in the near future. O'Neill, do you have anything else on this?
No, but I think that's the cost of the St. James Detention Center.
Right.
It's not a shelter, that's a different matter.
Okay.
The
Well,
shelter is what Judge Holder was recommending for those who are not
Right.
convicted of crimes, but the other is the
But-
youth detention center.
I think what he was talking about was going to be all part of that, would support the youth and the youth center, would be to try to get some funding
Yes, that's right.
because of the costs that we end up having to put them in the St. James Detention Center now because we don't have anything for them to go to. And it's been very costly for the parish. So what is looking at now, discussion to see where the wishes of the council is to ask the administration to go forward with.
Mr. Chairman, with all the requirements that we would have to have for these facilities, President, do we have any buildings or anything that would meet this criteria?
I think if we wait a few months, there could be some possibilities that would become available. What the judge had talked about was a possibility of looking at the old community college that's right down the street from the White House. That's been vacated. St. Teresa actually owns that building at this time, and he was, I think, referring to that building, alluded to that building with me. So it's just an idea that it would make a shelter for young kids. It would be a building. So I don't know if you want to pursue that building and look at it, see what the cost factor might be.
And I guess what we're looking at within that realm is to ask the administration to come up with a proposal that would be, that we could act on, that would be favorable, and authorize them to bring something forward to us, so that they can do some research and all now.
I think we need to get some input from the judges to what kind of facility that we would actually need, and they would be expecting, and how many people they would expect this facility to hold, and to see if that's something that's cost effective if you look at a building and remodeling a building, or whether it be more cost effective to just build a building from scratch. I don't know. So.
And obviously, administratively, no one wanted to move forward with anything without general consent of the council looking into that. So we didn't want to waste a whole lot of time doing something that someone would not want to move forward on. No obligation with anyone.
Right. I think we need to look at what services will need to be offered too from the judges as far as professionals. Is it going to include counseling, or what are we doing for them to make sure that they don't end up in St. James, or what's being offered in that, because that would also increase the cost of what it takes us to run the place going forward. So
I agree. But I'm very
Basically, what we're
comfortable with
looking for
moving
Yeah,
forward.
oh, absolutely.
is an endorsement to try to seek proposals as
Yeah.
to where we want to move forward.
I'll be happy to make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Cazzo, second by Ms. Melanson to authorize administration to look into it and give us some proposals as to where we can head on this and what the financial responsibilities of the parish and everything. We can get a report in, and it can be as timely as you would like to do it. We appreciate it.
The thing with this is with the cost of the St. James Youth Center going up to, I think, $240 a day. We're spending X amount now, and so far this year we've spent a lot more than we spent last year. If this continues on, this trend continues, we're going to have to make some decisions and discuss it a little further as far as finance.
Well, and that might be one of the things that allows us to build the shelters that we need to try to help finance the St. James Detention Center. It's all part of the youth assistance. So we just need something comprehensive to see where we can move forward for the best needs of the parish.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Number 8. Motion on number 8.
Motion.
That's right.
This meeting is adjourned.